It's 4:46 in the evening on Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. I just moved the cows to the third section of the sixth row. And my son and I, we got the last wire set up so we can move the bulls into their own row and out of the back 20. And I was standing there at the southern edge of that row and I could barely see the cows. So that tree, I think that big tree is in the row. I'm not sure. I know that the tree that's south of the pond, you can't even see it because it's mixed in with the other trees. I know that tree is in the area as well. So it is 58, 60 degrees, something like that. Nice and cool, lots of clouds, not much sunlight. You can see the clouds are kind of exciting, kind of pretty tonight. We had some wind today. Looks like Thursday, and then Friday we should be getting some rain. There's a good chance of rain, like half an inch. So I have to make sure everything's ready to go so we can handle the rain. Particularly in my shop, make sure that the rainwater is diverted away from the foundation. So, yeah, that's what I got for you guys. I was watching a gentleman go over the economics of feeding cows, and he calculates that, you know, the grass is about half the cost to him compared to the grain, and he just feeds them straight corn. He doesn't put anything else in there. And then he has a calf that's possibly going to get bloated, and gave some antibiotics to the calf and things like that. And so he is talking about all the hay he has to buy and all the feed he has to buy and the grass he has to grow. I'm not sure what he's spending the money on for the grass. I guess he's putting fertilizer in the field to grow the grass, you know. And even doing all that, if the market's good, you should be able to make quite a bit of money, you know. And it's the kind of operation where you buy a little more feed, a little more fertilizer, and provided you're in the right parameters, you should be able to get a good return on that investment. So that's not the model I'm shooting for, obviously, and I'm trying a completely different approach, where I'm trying to go the low input or zero input route, and I'm willing to suffer in terms of productivity. So my calves, when I bring them to market, aren't going to weigh as much as his, and the beef that I sell is going to take a little longer to finish than his, right? So that's what I'm willing to trade. More importantly, the daily rotations, the twice daily rotations, that takes quite a bit of time. The move itself is pretty quick. It's the setting up of the wires and getting them all positioned. And I'm looking at buying some more reels and some more wire, just so I can make sure I have the double wire for the sheep, so the sheep don't wander off out of their row. Anyway, another thing, Greg Judy has a video about his bale unroller, and I'm seriously thinking about buying one. It's $3,300 if I pick it up at his ranch in Missouri. I think that's what, an 8-hour drive away or something like that, which is closer than some places in Texas. So it's further to drive in Texas to get over there than it would be. It's further to drive to some places in Texas than it would be to drive to Missouri. But I am kind of in northeast Texas, so it's I'm a little bit closer to the border than it seems. The Red River's not too far from here, you know. Texas distance I'm talking about. It's just a couple counties off. So one of the things that Greg Judy talks about is his neighbor uses the same area to feed his cows hay in the winter. And over the years, the hay, the manure, the urine has built up to such a degree that he's basically poisoned his field. It can't grow back. There's too much nitrates there. And so one of the reasons why the bale unroller is such a good gamble or good bet, well, number one, you don't need a tractor to move your bales around. You can use the bale unroller. So that alone is probably worth the expense, just being able to move a bale around. But the bigger deal, the reason why people want it, is so they can unroll the bale of hay. And so what I do here is I unroll it I unroll it the wrong way, which is the right way. So follow along with me here. So the bale of hay was rolled up like this, right? It was rolled up like that in the hay baler machine. And so I unrolled it. I basically played it in reverse, right? And the reason why that's the wrong way is because you get a thick layer of hay and it doesn't go very far. And Greg Judy recommends unrolling it the opposite way so that it doesn't unroll so much as it just kind of shreds itself and spreads out, right? And that's what you want, is you want the cows to kind of spread out. You want the hay to be spread out, kind of like it is here. Like this is that's a good end result. There's some piles of hay I'm gonna have to go with a pitchfork and spread it out, because if it's too thick, the grass can't grow under it, okay? And the reason why you want it to spread out is you don't want to have patches of ground with high nitrogen content. You don't want the cows coming to one particular spot and trampling that grass in muddy season, the mud, and trampling over each other to get to the hay. You want it spread out so they don't have to fight over it. That's another reason why. But mostly to spread the nutrients out. And we have to remember that we're not just raising cows, we're raising insects and worms, bacteria, funguses, all that kind of stuff. Over there we have a little bit of a waterfall. Number 19 is spreading some water around the field. And you spread that out because a small amount of nitrates is magic, right? In the soil. You don't need that much to really kickstart the whole process. Too much and it's poison, right? Too much, it kills the soil. And that's when the weeds are actually helping you by consuming those nitrates and breaking them up. So we do want to spread the hay out. This part of the pasture doesn't look that great. This is where the cows destroyed the field. Let me walk over to where the middle section is. So they've been through already, lots of patties and lots of manure, which is good. I like to see it spread out. And in the summertime, when the patties are wet, we'll get the dung beetles like shredding those patties, and they just disappear into the soil. What they're doing is they're digging holes and they're putting the manure down there in the hole, which is a great way to put nutrients in the soil. So this part here doesn't look that great, but compared to the part where there's no, we have to go to the north side to see the difference. South side. North is behind me. All right, let's go up here. There's some good grass here. It's okay, it's decent. It's not great. There'll be enough that after they graze, it'll grow back quickly in the right conditions. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you guys. So this is the square where the cattle were when it rained, and I kept them a little bit too long. They ate all the hay, and then they ate all the goat weed, and they trampled it. And you can see the soil is really uneven. It's kind of difficult to walk, and I'm afraid of rolling my ankle. So you can see they trampled it, but the grass grew back. It did not look like this when I left this area. It looked dead. It looked like the surface of Mars. So, yeah. And then over here, this is the middle section, what I called section 5 for the past few rotations. This has had quite a while to recover. The reason why I use those sacrificial lots with the hay early in autumn was because I didn't want the cows to graze here. I wanted to give this more time to recover. And I don't know if I made the right call. I think I did. We'll find out come spring what it looks like. And then if I keep going west, it just gets a lot better. Over there, just south of the tree line, there is some fantastic grass. So, yeah. Anyway, that's one of the things. I want to unroll the hay to spread the hay around, to spread all those nitrates, so we can get, I don't want really high levels of nitrates in my soil, too high and it kills the soil. And it just takes a little bit to really kickstart the process. So there's the bale of hay they munched on when they were in that section. You can see it's all kind of spread out. So that's kind of the story. Anyway, yeah, different approaches to the same problem. In addition to the economics, which I think makes sense for this kind of thing, if you're willing to put in all the work. In addition to the economics, is the consideration of nutrient content. And we don't have tons of great evidence yet, but I think there's lots of circumstantial and preliminary results that suggest that raising your cows on natural grass that hasn't been fertilized with chemical fertilizers is just a good way to do it. There, that's too much hay in one spot. So it's just a good way to do it. And we'll see. Somebody mentioned that when I do the experiment with the bowls, the 6 bowls, I want to see how they taste. I should do testing to see the nutrient content of the meat, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know anybody that would test that for me, and if you guys know a lab or something I can send it to, I'd love to get in contact with them. I have a lot of time, obviously, but I'd love to send it off to them, and maybe what I'll do is I'll freeze the meat for 6 months and then send it off to get sampled for what kind of nutrients it has. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.